Hello ladies and gentlemen, hi guys and girls. Today I will be showing you how to build a 5x5x5 dodecagonal bipyramid. For that we will need one 5x5 cube as our base material, then an X-Acto knife and a metal blade that I use for sanding, then some packing tape to secure the puzzle so we don't have to glue the pieces together. Then a variety of sandpapers, 240, 60 and 40 grit, because we will remove all the material by hand and not with the disc sander over there. And we will need some epoxy sculpt for filling the pieces and extending, and maybe we will need some super glue if the two parts of the pieces split. Here we have a 5x5x5 hexagonal bipyramid, and I thought it would be an easy job to make a dodecagonal bipyramid, but as it turns out, it's a lot of work and it's pretty difficult. If we look at the hexagonal bipyramid, I had to turn one side into two. So I had to extend the normal 5x5 sides and not sand down that far on the other truncated surfaces that you can see here. These two sides instead of one that goes straight across. And then I would have to extend these three sides. So along this line we have to build up material so that it meets the tip of the back and builds up about half a centimeter in front. I cut out a chunk of sandpaper, wrapped it around my metal ruler, and then started sanding down the surfaces. This took pretty long actually. It took about 30 hours for the complete sanding of the puzzle, but eventually we would get into the shape we need. But as you can see here, I had to sand down the surfaces way more, but I still decided that I wanted to fill them up already. So I cleaned out all of the excess material inside of the pieces, and then I also had to glue the pieces together that consisted of two parts, and I just dumped in a little bit of super glue and some sanding dust and let it dry overnight. I was then ready to disassemble the puzzle and fill all of the pieces up. We want the epoxy sculpt to stick really well inside of the piece and that it doesn't pop out or anything if the puzzle should ever drop. So I scratched them with my X-Acto knife. I then prepared 54 grams of epoxy sculpt and started filling all of the pieces up. Here you can see one of the outer edge pieces. Then another outer edge piece, but from a different side. An inner edge piece. These were a little bit tricky because they had no corner caps and I had to sand down perfectly flat on the bottom of the pieces. But once the puzzle was assembled, I started sanding with my metal ruler and 40 grit sandpaper once more. I finally had to do the hard job and extend the center pieces and all of the other pieces. I prepared another 60 grams of epoxy sculpt and just extended the pieces outwards about 2 to 3 millimeters at first. This is what the pieces looked like right out of the oven. They were in there 30 minutes at 50 degrees. That makes the epoxy sculpt harden, so we can start sanding it directly out of the oven. And first of all, I had to sand down the mechanism parts, or all of the parts that were touching other pieces basically, so that we could assemble the puzzle. And we also needed to clean up the center pieces we extended, so that we would get a nice fit of the puzzle, and not different distances between two layers. So after assembling, I sanded down with my metal ruler and my 40 grit sandpaper even more, and we ended up with surfaces that looked something like this. Then the next job was to sand down the two new sides that you can see here. I already did it on one side, but only on this one. And this is the exact angle I took, just along these two pieces. And while you're sanding, I think you can actually feel that you're doing the right or wrong thing. I don't know. If you're sanding completely wrong, it feels wrong most of the time. The two new sides that we created, and obviously I had to extend the pieces a little bit more, and I wanted to make sure not having to do that again, so I overdid it, of course, and extended about 2 to 3 millimeters more than I would have to. But with a lot of time and a lot of sandpaper, we would eventually get to the shape we need. Then, after the shape was completed, I still had pieces that needed repairing, such as holes in the pieces or misformed pieces that I sanded down too much. But here we have the final shape of the puzzle now. I just needed to sand down or to round off all of the pieces. And that took another 3.5 to 4 hours. But rounding off the pieces is really important if you want a good quality puzzle. I think it makes a huge difference. And the right piece here is the rounded one, the left one is the original piece. And I was ready to spray paint the puzzle now, but before I did that, I took a microfiber towel and cleaned up all of the pieces, made them dust free. And here is the beautiful puzzle. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we have it. The 5x5x5 Dodecagonal Bipyramid. 24 sides. I still kept the opposite sides with the same color. So let's try to do a checkerboard pattern. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.